For today's video, we're going to be showcasing a 3-phase kill on the first dungeon boss in Ghost of the Deep. Ecthar, Echtar, Raptar from the Rugrats, I don't know. Anyway, quick trivia though, this boss is actually the Hive Knight from Destiny 1 on the Dreadnought that you have to go kill to get Raise Lighter, Dark Drinker, and Boltcaster. Just thought I'd throw that out there because a lot of people seem to not realize it. I didn't even realize it at first when I did this dungeon. So that's that. Let's get into the build now. This fight is going to be on a Solar Warlock throughout the entirety of the fight. We are going to be using 2 different loadout builds, though, through this fight. Correction, it was actually 3 loadouts, not 2. One will be for the pre-damage phase, so the survival portion of the fight, and then the other will be for the damage phase specifically. For the subclass tree / super, everything is going to be exactly the same between the 2 swaps. So we're going to have Well of Radiance on, we're going to have Phoenix Dive, Burst Glide, Incinerator Snap, Solar Grenades, Heat Rises, Touch of Flame, and for fragments we're going to have Ember of Resolve, Searing, Torches, and Imperium. The main thing here for this build, outside of just, pop Well of Radiance, don't die, lol, is having Heat Rises on, and then combining that with our Survival Exotic, which will be Sunbracers, and also having Resolve on to give us Cure from Solar Grenades, as well as Imperium to extend our restoration duration during the fight, so that you're almost always going to be on extra restoration, healing you non-stop. So to not keep you guys here for 15 minutes of straight explanation on the entirety of the fight, I'm going to just break it down and simplify it to as little as possible. For the 2 phases, survival and damage, this is what I used. For survival, I had Sunbracers on, like I mentioned, for my extra restoration, essentially getting a kill to proc the Sunbracers to get going, then eat a nade, throw another nade, and then do a Phoenix Dive, and while you're doing that Phoenix Dive, that nade that I threw should buff my restoration timer back up due to Imperium, and eventually you'll just be at 12 seconds the entire time of the fight until either you break your own chain or you go into the swimming phase or the DPS phase. Outside of those 2 things, you should have the restoration up literally the entire time. Then, for my weapons, the first 2 slots didn't really matter, but I personally had Osteo Shriga and Nessa's Oblation. The Shoddy comes into play for the damage phase, and then the Osteo is just something you don't really have to aim, but you still do DOT to enemies with the Sunbracers also, with the Solar Grenades. So it's a decent weapon to have instead of like trying to aim, right? But you can run anything for the kinetic and energy that you like. If you want to try this personally, you don't have to run those 2 things. The heavy actually does matter. In the heavy slot, I know this is going to get memed, but I had Apex Predator with Bipod. Now, I know Bipod sucks. We're all aware of this. It's not a good perk. However, the reason this rocket is on is not to get fired in this fight. In fact, it never gets used in this fight. The only reason to have it on is for the ammo reserves, because you hold 14 or 15 rockets, and then you swap to a different weapon to give that other weapon its full ammo or near full ammo. Like, for example, Levy's Breath. You swap from this to Levy's Breath, and you still get your full ammo for Levy's. So that's the reason to have this thing on while I have Osteo on, because later on, spoiler alert, I'll be switching to Legend of Acreus. Speaking of which, the damage loadout. So from here on, once you've killed your 3rd wizard and you're ready to dunk in the final statue, which would be the left or the right, by the way, you're going to want to have your timer at the maximum it could be. Make sure it's still at 10 seconds, 12 seconds, whatever. And you're going to head near wherever you made your green brick. Throw a solar grenade down to kill more acolytes to make sure your Sunbracers are still proccing your restoration. Then switch to your 2nd loadout, which will be Arbalist, Nessa's, or any shotgun, and still the bipod rocket, but then you'll have Felwinter's Helm on. Now this matters because you're going to pick up the green brick for the Arbalist ammo, go dunk in your 3rd statue, wherever that may be, left or right, preferably. The middle one is terrible, never do that one last. And then you're going to head towards the damage phase where the boss is. Now here, the Knight's going to spawn, the one that you need to kill to get the buff in order to break the boss's shield. Here, you're going to use Nessa's or whatever shoddy you would like to have on to break him down to the finisher range. And then once you finish the Cielo Bar Knight, Felwinter's procs, which then debuffs the boss, which then you Arbalist to break his shield, and then pop Well of Radiance immediately. And at this point is where you swap to the final 3rd loadout. Here, you just have Stag with your Well. You don't really need Stag because it's Well. Well would just literally block everything because, yeah, not unbalanced at all, by the way. Haha. And if you want, you could have Stag on for, like, extra insurance, I guess. But anyway, the main portion is you just swapped your bipod rocket and your RB off to put on Legend of Acreus. And now you just go to town on the boss. You proc him with a melee to get Trench Barrel going on Legend of Acreus, and then you start shooting with Acreus. Now, I do want to note one thing here. I go the route of melee, shot, reload, shot, reload, shot, reload, because Legend of Acreus, the way it shoots, between shot 1 and 2, and you just simply reloading a bullet is the exact same timer. So instead of wasting my time and loading 3 shots at a time, or God forbid the entire 6 shots back after I've used them, I go melee to proc trench, shot, reload, shot, reload, shot, reload, then I proc melee again to get trench back. So ideally, you're doing all the maximum damage you can while never actually manually reloading multiple bullets back. You're always reloading 1 shot back while you're waiting for the second shot animation cooldown to happen anyway. So doing it this way, you will get all of your Acreus shots off on the boss, or maybe like you'll have 1 shot left. But if you're fast enough, you get all your shots off, and you can get like 2 or 3 Nessa shots off on the guy's head as well. And hopefully, this will give us the beefy damage we need to do the 3-phase. After that, it's just rinse and repeat. I dive in the water, I put the Sunbreaker's build back on, I wait a little bit near bubbles to get my ability back, because obviously I want my Solar Grenade and my Snap back on to restart the cycle. After that, I go back up to the surface, and I restart the chain all over again. Sunbracers, then Fellwinters, then Acreus, and then boom, 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 boss damage. So that's the entire idea. Again, if you have any questions on what I just said, and maybe it doesn't make any sense at all, feel free to ask in the comments, and I'll answer there. Other than that, enjoy the rest of the video, the next 2 damage phases, or all 3 damage phases, depending how long this commentary was. And, yeah, catch you guys in the next video. Like, share, subscribe. It does help the channel. Much appreciated. Enjoy the boss kill. And, also, I'll do one for the final boss, which will be funny because it's on Arc Warlock. Okay. See you then. Bye. Shit. Kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him. Nice. I don't want to risk it. All right, boy. Wrong menu. Cool. Whew. Nice little crispy 3-phase.